What is true love according to Buddhism? In Buddhism, love is a magnificent, transformative force. True love is not just a fleeting feeling or an emotional attachment, it's a profound connection that transcends the boundaries of the self. When we think of true love, it's not merely about romantic affection or physical attraction. It's something deeper, something that grows in the soul, a powerful expression of kindness, compassion, and wisdom. But what does this mean for us in our everyday lives? How do we nurture this extraordinary love within ourselves and share it with others? Let's explore. Ready to cultivate true love and compassion in your life? Subscribe to our channel and join our journey toward mindful, boundless love. The nature of love in Buddhism. Have you ever wondered why love is so essential in our lives? Love is a fundamental need, not just for humans but for all beings. It's the glue that connects us. In Buddhism, love isn't simply an emotion that comes and goes, it's a guiding principle for how we interact with others and with ourselves. Imagine a love that isn't dependent on circumstances or moods but is steady and expansive. That's true love in Buddhism. Known as metta, or loving kindness, this form of love is unconditional and altruistic. It's the kind of love that wishes for all beings, yes, all beings, to be happy, free from suffering, and at peace. Isn't that beautiful? It means loving beyond just our family, friends, or partners. It means wishing well even to those we don't know or those who have wronged us. How do we get there? By cultivating this love through mindfulness, ethical living, and meditation. Think about it, love, in its true form, is liberating. It doesn't bind us or chain us to expectations. On the contrary, it frees us, and it frees the one we love. But too often, what we call love is actually attachment. How can we tell the difference? True love versus attachment. True love is about giving, while attachment is about expecting. True love liberates, whereas attachment binds us to our desires. Picture this, when you love someone truly, you think, I want you to be happy, even if that means I'm not a part of your life. Isn't that freeing? It's the kind of love that doesn't cling or demand. On the other hand, attachment says, I need you to make me happy. It's like holding onto a bird so tightly that it can't fly. Isn't that a bit heartbreaking? Attachment often leads to suffering, the fear of losing, the need to possess, the insecurity. But true love sets both people free. It says, I wish for your happiness, regardless of my own desires. How incredible is that? To love someone so much that you let them go if it means they will be happier? True love is about nurturing, not possessing. It's about wanting the best for someone, even if that doesn't involve us. Compassion in true love. Karuna, or compassion, is at the very heart of true love in Buddhism. Compassion isn't just feeling pity for someone, it's the deep desire to alleviate another's suffering. Imagine looking at someone you care for and feeling their pain as your own, genuinely wanting to help them heal. This is what makes true love so profound and transformative. The Buddha once said, as a mother who loves her only child, you should spread that same love to every person in this world. Can you imagine that? A mother's love is unconditional, unwavering, and selfless. She doesn't love her child because of what the child can give her, she loves just because. That's what true love is all about, a love that isn't bound by conditions or expectations, a love that wishes well without wanting anything in return. The difference between love and attachment, a Buddhist perspective. Here's a question, what if we loved everyone the way a mother loves her child, without strings attached? True love is about nurturing and supporting without holding on too tightly. Imagine telling someone, I love you so much that I want you to be happy, even if it's without me. That's a love full of generosity and freedom. Isn't it both terrifying and beautiful at the same time? Attachment, on the other hand, is like holding onto a flower so tightly that it wilts. If you like a flower, you might pluck it to keep it. But if you love a flower, you water it, let it grow, and enjoy its beauty without trying to control it. True love is nurturing, attachment is about possessing. The 4 elements of true love. Thich Nhat Hanh, the renowned Vietnamese Zen master, taught that true love has 4 essential elements: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. These are called the 4 immeasurables or Brahmaviharas. Let's explore these a little deeper. 1. Loving kindness, metta. This is the wish for others to be happy. It's about bringing joy and comfort to others without expecting anything in return. Can you imagine a world where everyone genuinely wished for each other's happiness? 2. Compassion, karuna. The desire to ease another's suffering. It's about seeing someone's pain and wanting to help, not out of obligation, but out of genuine love. 3. Joy, mudita. True love brings joy, not just to ourselves but to others. It's about being happy for another's success and well-being without envy or comparison. 4. Equanimity, upekkha. This is perhaps the hardest of all, to love without attachment, to love without bias. It's about balance, loving all beings equally. Isn't that such a powerful idea, to see everyone with equal love and care? When these 4 elements are present, our love becomes something truly extraordinary. It's unconditional, joyful, and boundless. Wouldn't you want to cultivate this kind of love in your life? Cultivating true love through practice. How do we develop this kind of love? Buddhism teaches that true love can be cultivated through practices like loving-kindness meditation, also known as metta bhavana. Imagine sitting quietly, closing your eyes, and first wishing yourself well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering. Then, expanding that wish to others, to loved ones, to neutral people, even to those who have hurt you. Can you imagine how transformative that could be? Loving oneself is the first step because, without self-compassion, we cannot genuinely love others. This meditation expands our capacity for empathy and breaks down barriers between us and others. The more we practice, the more naturally we begin to wish well for everyone, even those we may dislike or fear. Mindfulness and true love. True love also requires us to be mindful. How can we truly love someone if we aren't fully present with them? Mindfulness allows us to deeply listen, to see the other person as they truly are, and to understand their needs and suffering. When we are mindful, we are truly there for the person we love, without distractions or judgments. Isn't that what we all crave, to be seen and heard fully? Mindfulness also helps us recognize the impermanent nature of all things, including our emotions and relationships. It teaches us to appreciate each moment, to love without clinging, because we understand that everything changes. This acceptance of impermanence allows us to love deeply but without fear or attachment. The practice of non-attachment. Non-attachment might sound like not caring, but it's quite the opposite. It means loving someone so much that you want them to be free, even if that freedom takes them away from you. How challenging, yet profoundly loving, is that? Non-attachment allows us to remove our ego from the equation, to love for the sake of loving, without needing to control the outcome. In practical terms, non-attachment means allowing our loved ones to make their own choices, to grow in their own way. It means not holding on to expectations or trying to mold them to fit our desires. It's about supporting them without conditions. This kind of love creates a space where both people can flourish. The role of wisdom in true love. Finally, wisdom is an essential part of true love. Love is not just an emotion, it is also an understanding. Wisdom helps us see things clearly, to understand our loved ones beyond their actions and words, to see their essence. Isn't that what we all long for, to be understood at a deeper level? Wisdom allows us to see that all beings are interconnected, that the suffering of one affects the whole. It helps us understand that our actions have consequences, and this awareness guides us in loving more responsibly, with compassion and care. The benefits of practicing true love. Why choose true love over attachment? Because it brings freedom. When we let go of the need to control or possess, we experience peace. True love leads to deeper, more fulfilling connections. It nurtures our soul and brings joy to those around us. Imagine a world where we all practice true love, a world filled with kindness, compassion, and joy. What if, instead of seeking to possess, we sought to nurture? Instead of holding on, we let go with grace. The more we cultivate true love, the more we transform our own hearts and the world around us. Conclusion: choose true love. True love is a journey of self-discovery, compassion, and connection. It challenges us to look beyond our own desires, to open our hearts, and to love without conditions. Isn't that a beautiful path to walk? Let's choose true love, to love deeply, to wish for the happiness of others, and to nurture without possessing. Let's bring light into the lives of those around us and, in doing so, discover a profound sense of fulfillment and peace within ourselves. True love, as Buddhism teaches, is not just about loving another person, it's about embracing all beings with an open heart. So, why not start today? Let's water the flowers of love, not pluck them, and watch them bloom beautifully. Deepening the understanding of true love. To truly grasp the concept of true love in Buddhism, it helps to understand the nature of human suffering and its role in shaping our relationships. Love, in its purest form, is inherently tied to our ability to empathize with the suffering of others. Suffering is an inescapable aspect of human existence. Whether it is the loss of a loved one, unfulfilled desires, or the fear of change, we all face suffering. True love acknowledges this shared human experience and responds to it with compassion. The Buddha taught that all beings suffer, and much of our suffering arises from our attachments and desires. Often, we look for love as a solution to our suffering, believing that another person can fill the emptiness we feel. But in seeking love out of a sense of lack, we create attachment. We try to possess the other person to alleviate our own pain, and in doing so, we inadvertently caused suffering for both ourselves and the person we love. True love, however, is not about filling a void within ourselves. It is about recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings and responding to the suffering of others with compassion and understanding. It is about seeing the person we love as they are, not as a means to fulfill our own needs. This shift in perspective, from seeing others as a solution to our suffering to seeing them as fellow beings deserving of love and compassion, lies at the heart of true love. The power of loving-kindness meditation. Loving-kindness meditation is one of the most powerful tools in cultivating true love. This practice not only helps us develop compassion for others but also teaches us to be gentle and loving towards ourselves. How often do we find ourselves being critical or harsh to ourselves for our shortcomings? Loving-kindness meditation helps to break this pattern by encouraging us to extend love and compassion to ourselves. When practicing loving-kindness meditation, we start by focusing on ourselves, repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be at peace." This initial focus on self-compassion is crucial. It teaches us that we are deserving of love and kindness, just as much as anyone else. Once we have cultivated a sense of compassion for ourselves, we then extend these wishes to others, our loved ones, people we feel neutral about, and even those we may have conflicts with. Imagine sending out waves of loving kindness to someone you have had a difficult relationship with. At first, this can be incredibly challenging. Our natural instinct may be to hold on to resentment or anger. But as we practice, we begin to soften. We start to understand that this person, too, suffers, and that they, too, are deserving of happiness and peace. Through this practice, we learn to let go of our judgments and open our hearts to others, regardless of their actions or our past experiences with them. The interconnectedness of all beings. One of the most profound teachings of Buddhism is the concept of interconnectedness, or dependent origination. This principle states that all beings and all phenomena are interconnected, nothing exists independently. When we truly understand this, our perspective on love shifts dramatically. If all beings are interconnected, then the suffering of one affects the whole. This means that when we love another person, we are not just loving an isolated individual, we are loving a part of the interconnected web of life. This understanding deepens our compassion, as we realize that our actions towards others have far-reaching consequences. When we act out of love, we contribute to the well-being of the whole. When we act out of attachment or selfishness, we contribute to the suffering of the whole. This interconnectedness also means that true love is not limited to romantic relationships or even to human relationships. It extends to all beings, animals, plants, and even the earth itself. When we cultivate true love, we develop a deep sense of care and responsibility for all forms of life. We begin to see that our happiness is intrinsically linked to the happiness of others and that true love is about nurturing this interconnected web of life. Joy and true love. Joy, or mudita, is another essential element of true love in Buddhism. But what does it mean to experience joy in the context of love? Often, we think of love as something that involves sacrifice or suffering for the sake of another. However, true love, as taught in Buddhism, is not burdensome, it is joyful. Mudita is the ability to feel happiness for others, especially for their successes and achievements. In true love, we do not feel threatened by the happiness of others, instead, we rejoice in it. Imagine feeling genuinely happy for someone who has achieved something you desire for yourself. It takes a deep sense of love and equanimity to be able to celebrate another's joy without feeling envious or insecure. Joy in true love is also about being fully present with the person you love. When we are mindful and present, we can share in their joy without distraction. Think about a time when you were truly present with someone you love, perhaps sharing a beautiful sunset or listening to them share an exciting story. In those moments, there is a sense of joy that arises simply from being together, from connecting at a deep level. This is the joy of true love, a joy that is not dependent on circumstances or conditions but arises naturally from being fully present and open-hearted. Equanimity, loving all beings equally. Equanimity, or upekkha, is perhaps the most challenging aspect of true love. It requires us to love all beings equally, without attachment or discrimination. How can we love without attachment? How can we extend our love to all beings, even those who have hurt us? Equanimity teaches us to maintain a balanced mind, regardless of the circumstances. It means loving without clinging, without becoming overly attached to the object of our love. It is about seeing all beings as deserving of love, regardless of their relationship to us or their actions. This does not mean that we condone harmful behavior or that we do not set boundaries. Rather, it means that we recognize the inherent worth of all beings and extend our love and compassion to them, even when it is difficult. Practicing equanimity requires us to let go of our biases and preferences. It challenges us to see beyond our likes and dislikes, beyond our judgments and attachments. It asks us to love others not because of what they do or how they make us feel, but simply because they are beings deserving of love. This kind of love is not easy, it requires a deep sense of wisdom and understanding. But it is also incredibly freeing. When we can love without attachment, we free ourselves from the cycle of desire and suffering, and we open ourselves to a boundless love that includes all beings. Non-attachment and freedom in love. The concept of non-attachment is often misunderstood. Many people think that non-attachment means not caring or being emotionally distant. But in Buddhism, non-attachment is about loving fully without clinging. It is about giving the other person the freedom to be themselves, to grow in their own way, without trying to control or possess them. Non-attachment is about letting go of our need to make the other person conform to our expectations. It is about accepting them as they are, without trying to change them to fit our desires. This kind of love is not about fulfilling our own needs but about supporting the growth and happiness of the other person. Imagine loving someone so much that you are willing to let them go if that is what will make them happiest. This is the essence of non-attachment. It is a love that is not about possession but about freedom. It is about recognizing that the other person is not ours to own, that they have their own path to walk, their own journey to take. This kind of love is incredibly challenging, but it is also deeply rewarding. It allows us to love without fear, without the constant worry of losing the other person. It allows us to love with an open heart, without conditions or demands. Wisdom, seeing things as they are. Wisdom, or prajna, is an essential component of true love. True love is not blind, it is guided by a deep understanding of the nature of reality. Wisdom allows us to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. It helps us to understand the impermanent nature of all things, including our emotions and relationships. When we approach love with wisdom, we recognize that everything is in a state of constant change. The person we love today will not be the same person tomorrow, just as we ourselves are constantly changing. This understanding helps us to let go of our attachment to a fixed idea of who the other person is. It allows us to love them as they are in each moment, without clinging to an image of who we think they should be. Wisdom also helps us to understand the nature of suffering. When we see that the other person, like all beings, experiences suffering, we are moved to respond with compassion. We understand that their actions, even those that may cause us pain, are often driven by their own suffering. This understanding helps us to let go of anger and resentment and to respond with love and compassion instead. The practice of true love in daily life. How can we bring the principles of true love into our daily lives? It starts with mindfulness, being fully present with ourselves and with others. When we are mindful, we can listen deeply, without judgment or distraction. We can see the other person as they truly are, beyond our own projections and expectations. Mindfulness also helps us to recognize when attachment and selfish desires arise. When we become aware of these tendencies, we can choose to let them go and to act from a place of love and compassion instead. This is not always easy, especially when we feel hurt or threatened. But with practice, we can learn to respond to our own suffering and the suffering of others with kindness and understanding. Another way to practice true love is through acts of kindness. Small acts of kindness can have a profound impact on our relationships. Whether it is offering a kind word, a listening ear, or a helping hand, these acts of love help to strengthen our connections with others and to cultivate a sense of compassion and care. The role of self-compassion in true love. Self-compassion is a crucial aspect of true love. We cannot truly love others if we do not first love ourselves. This does not mean being self-centered or selfish. Rather, it means recognizing our own suffering and responding to it with kindness and understanding. Often, we are our own harshest critics. We judge ourselves for our mistakes, our shortcomings, and our failures. But true love starts with accepting ourselves as we are, with all our flaws and imperfections. When we can be compassionate towards ourselves, we create a foundation of love and acceptance that allows us to extend that same love to others. Self-compassion also means taking care of ourselves, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It means recognizing our own needs and making time to nurture ourselves. When we take care of ourselves, we are better able to care for others. We cannot pour from an empty cup. By nurturing ourselves, we ensure that we have the capacity to love and care for those around us. True love as a path to enlightenment. In Buddhism, true love is not just about creating fulfilling relationships, it is also a path to enlightenment. By cultivating loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, we are developing the qualities that lead to spiritual awakening. True love helps us to let go of our attachments, to see beyond our ego, and to connect with the interconnectedness of all beings. The Buddha taught that enlightenment is not an escape from the world but a deep engagement with it. True love is a way of engaging with the world that brings us closer to enlightenment. It helps us to see beyond our own desires and to act for the benefit of others. It helps us to develop a heart that is open, compassionate, and free from attachment. When we practice true love, we are not only transforming our relationships, we are also transforming ourselves. We are letting go of the ego, the sense of self that separates us from others, and opening ourselves to the boundless love that connects all beings. This is the essence of enlightenment, a state of being in which we are free from suffering and fully connected to the web of life. Conclusion: the journey of true love. True love, according to Buddhism, is a journey that takes us beyond our own desires and attachments and into a deep connection with all beings. It is a journey of self-discovery, compassion, and wisdom. It is not always easy, but it is profoundly rewarding. To practice true love is to commit to a path of growth and transformation. It is to open our hearts to others, to see their suffering, and to respond with compassion. It is to let go of our need to possess or control and to love with an open heart. It is to find joy in the happiness of others and to love without discrimination or attachment. True love is not something that we achieve once and for all, it is a practice, something that we cultivate moment by moment, day by day. It requires patience, mindfulness, and an open heart. But the rewards are immeasurable. By practicing true love, we create a life filled with meaning, joy, and profound connections with all beings. So, let us choose true love. Let us choose to love deeply, to nurture without possessing, to wish for the happiness of others without expectation. Let us bring light into the lives of those around us, and in doing so, discover a profound sense of fulfillment and peace within ourselves. True love, as Buddhism teaches, is not just about loving another person, it is about embracing all beings with an open heart. Let us water the flowers of love, not pluck them, and watch them bloom beautifully.